The Hyderabad Gaming Weekend 2023 was an exciting gaming event that brought together gaming enthusiasts, startups, and industry professionals, providing a platform to showcase the latest advancements in gaming and foster collaboration within the gaming community. During the event, engaging panel discussions took place, where participants shared their insights and perspectives on various gaming-related topics.
Let's do this more of an interaction. Okay, I think the first session was with somebody like Rajat, obviously a lot of Gyan experience of the last decades. So this one, let's 20 plus, yeah. So now let's give it up for Kapil, the young sort of CEO from Meta Studios. Thank you once again. So after that awkward exit, that was a game that was, the plot was very different. So it was, right. So so Kapil is back and, huh? Two versions, yeah, the version 2. So let's make this more interactive. I'm sure that, it won't be boring. So if it is, raise your hands and let's make it more gamified. Okay. So, Kapil, so firstly, journey, we'll get into all that. Why Metaverse? Let's kind of ask Meta Studios because आपके नाम में Metaverse है, मतलब Meta Studios है. So, in the context of Metaverse, I think Rajat's previous thing was a detailed sort of, history of Metaverse and all that. But in your case, right, being a consultant at PwC and working in that space and building a practice in Metaverse, for some of you who do not know PwC, it's a consulting firm. So, yeah, so coming to, Meta Studios as a CEO, right, that is transition. So for those who do not or not from the gaming industry, how many of you are not at all in the gaming space? Like not connected to the gaming? Okay. So I think that question is very relevant because the future of everything is going to be on Metaverse. So I think the last, takeaway for me was like Metaverse is going to be like a layer on top of Android, on top of everything, right? Like basically it's a layer. So with that, as a spirit, and Meta Studios is an interesting name. So you also run Meta Engine, right? So there are two companies. So tell us a little about the context of Metaverse and how it is relevant to your vision at Meta Studios, and also a little more about for those who are not in the area of gaming and Metaverse, including somebody like me. Primarily, I'm doing this because I support or evangelize anything futuristic, and I believe that Metaverse definitely has scope. Though I'm not from the gaming world, I'm nothing to do with the gaming world, but I definitely am a tech evangelist. I've always, throughout my life, always believed in things that are different. So when blockchain came to India, I probably was one of the first community, evangelist in Hyderabad. In 2017, we got Joe Lubin from, Consensus. So we did a lot of such things as part of very mad and crazy people and community that we have. And Metaverse obviously is the present. It's not the future. And this came out of a conversation with Rajat. And our conversation also has been pretty recent this year, Jan at IIT Bombay. So a lot of passion and a lot of things are there. So over to you now. I think what would it's such a long question, but how would you unfold it in terms of Meta Studios?
So I'll divide it in like 2 or 3 parts. One is like why Metaverse, right? And there I think we have quite a few things in similar. Like you mentioned, like something new, something creative, something which is changing. That is something that you really connect with. I'm the same. Throughout my life, I have been a fan of creating something different. Whether it is a company, whether it is a song, whether it is writing a book, whether it is studying, anything that eventually leads to creation of something, knowledge, product, company, anything, right? Classic example. This is an example I always used to take back in the day when I was running a label. Releasing a song is literally like giving birth to a child. Right? You write a song on a blank paper, you start on a blank paper, then music starts adding to it, the first beat, the second beat, then it becomes a melody, then becomes a complete song, then it is sounding odd, so you do a mix and master, so it becomes a beautifully sounding song that you can jam on, that you enjoy. You have heard it 500 times because you have made it, but that becomes like, okay, this is special. Then it goes in the market. Then people start listening to it. You see one person shaking his head on that song. That brings a smile on your face because it's like your creation. You created it and now people are enjoying it, right? That's literally a creator's journey. And this is the smallest example that you can take about creating anything, right? So that's what who I am. Like, I love creating, and that satisfaction of creating something and seeing the journey of it. Sometimes things work, sometimes things don't work. Part of the life, right? When it does not work, you learn something out of it and make sure that next time it does not happen. So always been a fan of creating something and enjoying that journey. And
we are living in times of generative AI.
Oh yeah.
So many AI tools, right?
Yeah.
Just as context, right? Where do you stand as a company?
Oh yeah.
So integrate a lot of generative AI stuff inside.
So we have started doing that very actively now. So we have our head of AI integration who takes care of integrating AI elements in our gaming engine. So taking a step back, we have our own gaming engine on which so far, like, it has been in existence since 2001. So far, more than 600 MMORPG games have been built using that engine. It's a post-multiplayer development. Imagine like 50 users building an environment together. Interoperability that we spoke about, we are really trying to get deeper into that aspect, and scalability. How you can host multiple, hundreds and thousands of users in one single virtual server. So that's the gaming engine, and on top of it now we are adding a layer of Web3 integration. So if any game studio wants to build a game, you don't have to worry about the Web3 integrations of it, because this is something that we firmly believe in, that when you start making a game with tokenomics, with blockchain integration, with all these things in mind, you are really not giving it a life. You are just thinking about making it an economic model. Rather, it should be the other way around. Make a cool game that will that people will really enjoy, and then, of course, in that journey, transition to making it economically viable so that everybody makes money, and you also, as a developer, eventually ends up making money. So,
quick question, because I think the economics and viability, right, of the game versus making the game itself, it's a very debatable thing. Right? How many of you struggle to actually make a model to make money in the game? Is that the right context in terms of talking about? Because I think the creative elements of the game itself are the thing. It's also monetizability, right? I think a lot of startups that probably you can ask them how hard it is to monetize their games.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, let's even start with that question. How many of you all think in this context that if I'm making a game, one is what is the first thing that you focus on? That what is my focus? The game should be fun and everybody should enjoy playing it. Or second, how do I create a economic model in the game? Which side of the table do you fall in? The first one, making a game fun that everybody should enjoy. Raise your hands. And the second one, that it should be economic model so that more and more people come, they make money, everybody makes money.
I think that also.
Yeah. Also, of course. Also, right? So, in the Web3 side of the world, many this Web3 games start from the second. Many. And that's why. Yeah, I mean, take classic. There's this game Star Atlas. It's on Solana. They have 38 or 36 blockchain engineers and 3 or 4 game designers. Blows your mind, like, yeah, because they are like, we have to create. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's another fact. Like, even the parity in terms of payment. So what are you building, right? Are you building a game or you're building an economic model? So, and that's why the adoption in the Web3 gaming is at a low right now, because you will play a game when it is fun, right? So drawing that balance is very important, and that's the kind of ethos that we try to do. So as Meta Studios is the game development studio and the immersive experience development studio, so we make sure that we are building fun experiences that then we can, so that we don't have to worry about all these integrations that our engine and our infrastructure takes care of. So that's where we kind of come into picture. But I'm not sure if, because all of us raised 2 hands, that's why you guys did that. But I'm so glad to see that here, at least in this room, people are really focused on making fun games. Because that's what drives fun, right? That's what games are supposed to be. And most importantly, if the game is fun, if the game is engaging, it will end up making a lot of money. There can be 10,000 things that you can do to make sure that it makes money.
Now, again, critical question is, before you make money, wait for the change. Like, you have to make some
survival, right? A lot of startups, right? Let's talk about the early stage of 0 to 1, right? And it's nice to see that you have a model of services and product.
Yeah.
Now, many of the companies, maybe many of the startups, you should ask them, what are they doing to survive? So, also crafting a revenue model in the early stages without kind of disturbing the ethos, disturbing the creativity and the game. How do you balance that? Right, that is a critical question.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think could be done, because you have an interesting model?
So, and that is precisely why we have these two focuses. When you are building a technology, when you are building an infrastructure, it takes time, right? When you are building a game, for example, game building takes time. Making cool game takes time. So how do you kind of divide everything that you are doing in your company in steps? And with each step, that should be like a milestone. So what we do, that is why we divided the business in two parts. The engine thing, the infrastructure piece, that's going to take like 8 months, 9 months, 10 months to kind of come in its form. When it comes, it's going to be scalable. It's going to capture the market, but hopefully, but till then, how do you survive? Either you end up raising a lot of money from investors, that takes care of the bills, or you create a revenue generating model on the side. So if you are on that side of the table where you're able to raise money from the investors, fine, you're well taken care of, so you don't have to worry, you keep building what you're building. But if that does not happen, and it's fine, like in business, it happens many times that you're not able to raise money, but you have faith in what you are doing, so you want to keep building. That's when dividing each and everything, so you don't just step for the end goal, you divide everything in steps. You divide everything in milestones and take a call on यहाँ पे कैसे पैसे कमा सकते हैं. What can I do more instead of just building? Can I do something else also that can pay the bills? So those kind of strategic decisions, and it's gonna depend company to company, founder to founder, team to team, कि आप किस तरीके के काम, the projects you are doing which can give you a venue to kind of start making money in the journey.
One of my co-founders actually, we do some side projects. So I think there is also sort of a misnomer. Like these side projects karna, it's a different thing. It's a deviation from the main kind of goal, right? So as an investor, again, it's a different thing. If somebody is doing a side thing, I don't know how you look at such a company, but survival is everything, right? So being in the game dev area as a game dev, right? How many of you are actually developers? Designers, how many of you are designers? Okay, and developers. So, and how many of you can actually be on any of the freelance platforms and make some extra money or making it, right? Good number. And why are the others not making it? So maybe
they're just not raising their hands.
Yeah, but do you think that is a good approach, given that a startup requires everything, right? A lot of focus. At the same time, you have to kind of build an alternative.
So there are two philosophies that exist in the startup world when you're creating anything, and there is no right and wrong about it. Philosophy number one is that old story that a team crossed the river, went on an island, burnt a boat. अब तो पूरा island capture करके वापस आएंगे. Only one approach. No matter what, we're gonna do this. चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए, survival हो ना हो, we're gonna keep building. So that's philosophy number one. That you keep focusing no matter what, you don't deviate, you don't have a plan B, there is only one plan. नवाजुद्दीन सिद्दीकी, like 10 साल लगे, 15 साल लगे, 20 साल लगे, चाहे कुछ ना हो, मैं एक्टर ही बन के जाऊंगा, right? Brilliant. Respect. Hustle. Takes a lot of guts to do that. The other approach is practical approach. Always have two plans. Right? ठीक है, build करना है, 100% करना है, but at the same time I have to take care of my family as well. Everybody has a different set of responsibilities. Everybody comes from different backgrounds, right? So then you have a plan B, the survival thing. You figure out, should I do something on the side as well to make money while I am still chasing my dream, right? So there is no right and wrong. Which category do I fall in? In different phases of my life, I have been in different sides of the table. So I don't advocate one over the other. When I had less responsibilities, I didn't have to take care of my family, I was all out. चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए, like ठीक है, 5,000 a month, I'll still survive, fine. वड़ा पाव खा के रह लेंगे, लेकिन जो करना है वो करना है. When family comes and all those responsibilities come, you become more practical. Then you hedge and you figure out what's the best way to kind of still chase your dreams, but have a stability, have some practical sense to it, that it pays your bills as well. Now again, if you are two-plan approach, right? Even in two-plan, there are two ways to do about it. Number one, for example, let's take game building example. I want to build a game. I keep building a game, but to make money, I do something separate, some side hustle. Or second is, while I'm building this game, can I build it in a way that it also pays my bills? Maybe the development and the completion will be longer. Instead of 6 months, it may take 1 year, but I'll continue to do the same thing, but while making some sort of money. So all these things there is no right and wrong in this. Everybody will have a different philosophy, but everybody is in a different stage in your life. So my advice would be like, be really practical, take those calls, like which situation are you in and what is it that will allow you to be like move forward with the most sensible plot in mind.
So yeah, rightly said. So in the context of metaverse, given that people have to make a buck as well and do that, right? So what would you think are the top 3 or 4 or 5 opportunity areas in metaverse that people can kind of, so one is of course a long-term thing. Now, somebody like a Brahman Studios, for example, okay, they build like a big game, and it takes time. It's not like some digital app ki humne kuch Me Too model bana diya na. So, unlike any other startup area, it's gaming kind of thing, according to my kind of observation, is a long-term game. Game itself is long-term game. So you can't get an exit like doing a digital startup in like 3 days and. You can build literally an app in 3 days. We know it. We've done it. So 3 days you can build a front end, 3 days back end. But game, especially given the context of its huge back end, the computation, and depends on what you're doing. So there are 2 segments, right? One is casual games, and you've got to be either lucky or you should have like a very clever plot and do kick-ass marketing and all the clickbaits and all. Or you build a very traditional, huge game and a lot of messaging, a lot of building education on the characters, a lot of building is there. Now, in the context of what you said, right, NFTs plus blockchain, what could be the short-term sort of goals for startups in the area? Right? Every startup may not have that bandwidth to think of say 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. Right? On an average, I think it takes a certain amount of time for this domain to really kind of even raise money from investors. Yeah. So any alternatives or like top 3 areas or opportunities are useful?
Very difficult question, by the way. But I can share my thought process in when it comes to building anything, whether it is short term or long term. I'm a long term guy divided into short term, multiple short terms. Follow an approach which can get you associated with more and more people. If you have the numbers, you will have success. Game bana rahe hain, it's game building is going to take 6 months, 1 year. How can you have a model, or can you have a demo, or can you have anything built which allows you a feedback loop? I'm building a game, I think it's going to be awesome, it's going to change the world, but that's what I think.
That's exactly why we've done this event in first so that people like them can actually get it.
Yeah, so
you're proving it's validation sort of.
So like my son is the best son in the world, no matter what, because it's my son, right? Like I gave birth, like he's my blood. No matter what, I'm gonna do whatever to make sure, like that he wins. But that's because he's my son. Can I say the same thing about somebody else's son? I will be very objective in analyzing and giving feedbacks about somebody else's son. The same thing. It's your game, your baby, your product. You will love it no matter what, because you are creating it. You have decided the story, you have done the coding, you have done the art. It looks amazing. Yeah, because it's yours. Take it out. So feedback loop, I call it feedback loop. Like your feedback loop should always be as short as possible. So create things that you can take out in the market, or take feedback from people, and that will keep giving you a realistic output in terms of, okay, am I going in the right direction? Do I need to change something else? Okay, now this is working, this is not working. Let's twist this, let's keep this. And using those models, because that allows you gain numbers. And if you have numbers, money comes. Chase the numbers. The money will come. And now in Web3, there is a reason it is known as creators economy, right? There can be like 100 models. I can't like really categorize 1, 2, or 3, because depending on the product, depending on the project, there's gonna be like different models that will work. But if you have the numbers, money comes. dropping NFT collection, if you have a strong community, for example, people are raising millions because they have been able to create a community of people, right? So run behind numbers that can associate with you with more people. And most importantly, I can't emphasize on it so much, keep your feedback loop as short as possible. Don't go in the room and come out after 6 months building something. Hey, I built the best game in the world. No, the world has changed. World is changing every month. Create something and be live, be present, go out and talk to as many people as you can. Give demos to as many people as you can. Ronak told me he created the demo of his game in 10 days. I loved it. Very good. I'm not played your game, but I'm sure it's going to be amazing. I'm waiting forward. Yeah. But that's a good approach, right? Even in our company, we do it. Like we are talking to one of India's and I think globally biggest publishers, and we are looking at building a game together with them. But the approach that I'm following there is, I don't know, are they going to sign a deal with me or not? It's till the papers are signed, till the money hits your account, the deal is still floating. So till then, how can you be practical? Can I, because it's the world's biggest publisher, should I put all my company resources, all my employees to do those things? No, I'm doing 10 projects at a time right now. Even though I have this one of the biggest deals on the table, I'm still doing 9 other deals, being practical. I'm going to them with a demo. I'm going to them with a game design document. My concepts, my everything is in place. If they say, this works, done, let's do it. Then again, 1 month later, again, there's going to be a meeting. Does this work? Yeah, let's do it. Does not work? Let's modify. Feedback loop. As a company which is funded, still I follow this approach because I'm a big believer of keeping your feedback loop in everything that you do as short as possible. That keeps you closer to the ground.
Excellent. I think that feedback loop is a very good insight. So in terms of, let's say, gaming, right, as an industry, I think we spoke that just a while ago that it's the best time perhaps. There's a positive investor sentiment, and despite the fact that most of the games may not have a monetizable plan, I think you ask like, what is your plan to monetize? They'll be like, हमने तो गेम बनाया है, अभी इसको कैसे बेचना है हमें नहीं पता. So, and a lot of them probably might struggle to get the numbers of it. I mean, they might need some mentoring or some sort of thing. But in the context of this, right, when you see gaming, it's a much bigger industry than music and film industry, as Rajat always says, and you also in fact made the statement last time. So, gaming being this big, metaverse becoming more and more popular, and being the present, right? What are the industry use cases and applications that you think beyond just the game? Some of them, for example, making a tourism metaverse, for example. He has a game too, and it is actually more like a Google ka tour guide. So it's like it's more like a hybrid between a game and a real life application.
Absolutely.
A lot of such interventions. So in most of the cases, you might find that. Right? So any top areas that you think metaverse can kind of be a monetizable thing, while actually the original idea is a game. Right? For example, it might be a game, but you might see a metaverse spin in that. Right?
Yeah.
Given the current sentiment of it.
Oh no, absolutely. That's a brilliant point. To start with, everything that happens virtually is a game. Small, big, minor, gigantic. Everything that you're seeing and experiencing online is a game of one or the other sort. That's number one. Let's first of all address that. Second, the modifications to it that allows you to reach different sectors, different markets, which is the term which is coming out, gamification. Right? That is where we are seeing a lot of boom, lot of interest coming in now. What is gamification? Theoretically speaking, or rather, like if the definition, if I have to put, inserting gaming elements in non-game environments that gamifies it. Right now, for example, we are having this chat right now. This is a one-to-one chat. Now, if this becomes like a more, fun-driven exercise, that's like we have gamified an interview. Right? There are like, instead of just me talking to you, I do some or the other activity. That's like a fun-driven. I've gamified the environment. Very big example. Actually, it was a bad example. But this, for the traditional companies, now it's becoming a big go-go. Now, take an example of any traditional company like Samsung, for example, right? How have been they reaching out to their consumers so far? They come out with a product, they create a beautiful advertisement around it, take like some superstar in it and release it on the TV. That's how step number one, that's how they do it. Second, when social media became famous, they started doing activation campaigns on social media, then physical events, etc. Now how are they doing it? Now they're going on party night. That's where the crowd is. Now they are finding much more fun and engaging ways to connect with the youth of the country. That's gamification, right? Now, if anybody knows how to build games, and they also know how the real world operates, how these traditional brands, how these companies want to connect to their consumer, you can become a bridge to that. And there's a huge demand for people like this who understand both sides of the things, right? Hardcore gamer, brilliant. Like
very excellent point. Very well articulated.
Yeah, you have to, the bridge.
The real world businesses and a medium to kind of enter that, right?
Yeah, because who pays? Who pays money? Yeah, that's a brilliant example. So many brands, like 200 brands are working with Rajat right now. There is a reason, right? Rajat has been able to put these traditional brands in a fun environment. People like to have fun. If there is a fun engagement happening, if there is an environment where there is fun. We are sitting here. I hope you are finding this conversation interesting. That is why you are sitting here. If it was boring, you would have left by now, right? So, how can you engage with the people? And any brand who has money, brands. If you build games, who's going to fund it? Who's going to pay for it? Some of the other brand. Right? Not me. I'm gonna buy a game of like $1,000, but somebody will have to pay for the whole bill. Game development is an expensive exercise, right? Who's gonna be it? Some of the other brand, right? So because they have the money, so getting closer to people who have the money in the most productive manner. And I always put it in two baskets. One is a proper core game development that in itself is one of the best things to be done. But if you have to connect it with the traditional side of things and using your game development skills, then gamification is the answer, because you become a bridge between the hardcore game development and the brands who want to reach out to their consumers. Again, coming to my point, numbers. How do you reach more people? If you're able to connect more people, you make money.
Also, yeah, I mean, excellent way of looking at it. So if there are some startups, right, that or games that essentially are in Web 2, we were just chatting, and that probably will see better light in Web 3 environment, right? Where there's a better scope, for example, to sell NFTs or to have more monetizable options. Not forcibly do it. So he was actually, you were saying Brahman Studios can also see a Web 3, So in case there is such thing, right? What kind of resources in terms of technology? Because making in Web 2 is relatively different, making a same thing in Web 3. Yeah. So how do you see such a, what could be the changes?
Yeah. I'm a firm believer of taking gradual steps. If you are in Web 2, you have made an amazing game, don't directly jump to Web 3. You have a game development team, hire one person or get one person to consult you that, okay, this is the game, अब इसमें क्या-क्या next changes कर सकते हैं, which opens the door to monetize it. You have like it's a battle game, so you have swords, you have this thing. So now if you have the users, can I sell these swords as NFTs? Right now, if I have sell it, why should somebody buy my NFTs? You provide some utility to it. Baby steps. So that is why somebody asks me, like, I'm a firm believer of Web 2.5. Not directly jumping into the whole Web 3 element, but again taking it gradual, because then the numbers are important. Ultimately, people are gonna play the game. Ultimately, school-going kids, college-going kids, they are gonna play the maximum amount of games. Right? So the more simpler you keep it for them, the better the chances of mass adoption. So if you directly switch to Web 3, your audience becomes Web 3, which currently is comparatively lesser. There is the biggest number of people sitting in the Web 2 world. So if you, like Rajat put it, right, you will be operating in the metaverse without even knowing that you are operating in the metaverse, because that will be the underlying foundation of it. That's the right way to put it. Your game, if you don't even realize that it's a Web 3 game while playing, but it is still like the backend, you have taken care of it so nicely that, okay, I don't even realize it's a Web 3 game. I'm making money, I'm playing, I'm having fun, everything has been taken care of. That's the success. But that does not happen like this. Take some steps. Like how gradually you transfer your game and adding more elements to it, building some community around it, building some NFT elements to it, putting whatever parts are required to be put on blockchain. First of all, does it even require to be on blockchain? Just because Web3 is so buzzing does not mean that you have to create something in Web3. No. If already it is so cool, then why do you need Web3? Don't put it on Web3. But some elements, because Web3 provides you with a lot of more flexibility, a lot of more, that there's a reason it is known as a creator economy, because it opens doors for many things. So put those pieces there and then see how it is working out, and then take the next step. That's very important. So slowly and steadily, one step at a time, not completely transitioning, because then again the whole debate that we were having, it becomes an economic focus instead of a game focus. Keep it a game. add economic elements to it, and that will take it to the next level.
Yeah, great. I think what we've done for this game expo, right, is so there are some parameters that every game has, like weight environment, the gameplay. We made some sort of interesting parameters and the feedback loop, right, for each of the games. Are there any techniques or ways in which you can get a feedback in a very good way?
Oh yeah, amazing. Good.
Of course, there is Discord and other communities, but what are some hacks and growth hacks where not just the feedback, but also a very constructive critic, right? Where you can probably get elements like, okay, maybe I should add something like this on top. I think the success primarily depends on how quickly you are making that pivot.
Yeah.
Right? If it is already good, it is okay. If it's not, then you have to take a call.
Yeah, I mean that's the simplest part actually. You get to know, like if somebody's sitting and playing your game for more than 15 minutes and they have a big smile on their face, you're doing something right. As simple as that. Even if it is new, nobody has known about it. I'm not playing Call of Duty because the entire world is playing Call of Duty. Right? So sorry, like most of the people play Call of Duty because the entire world is playing Call of Duty, and that's when they get introduced to it, and then they fall in love with it, right? Because there's a huge billions of dollars spent on marketing and everything. That's when, but we buy it because it's a big thing coming out. But your game, you built it, you came out of your room, you came out of your development studio, and somebody's playing it for the first time. Nobody knows you, nobody knows your game, but they have a huge smile on their face when they're playing it. They're engaged, they're asking you 10 questions. That means you've done a good job. If they leave your booth in 5 minutes, that means you've done a bad job. Sit with them, grab them, take them for a coffee, do whatever, take feedbacks. What went wrong, and spending time with the right set of people. That's important. I think this is very important. Build something, go out, spend time with people, be in every community, every Discord, every Telegram channel where people discuss games. Keep sharing it with them. And like, of course, and try to spend as much time in person with people, because ultimately you make games for humans. It's a tech product, it's an online virtual thing, but humans are going to use it. How their emotions, how they respond to your games, that's important. You need to study that. That's very important. That does not happen way too much in virtual world. You have to do that, like virtually share it. You can't be everywhere. It's important. But I'm a firm believer of these kind of things. If you have to be as much as you can do in person, because you can study. Ultimately, just keep this in mind. Whatever you are making it for real people. So the people connect, understanding people, what brings smile on their face, what immediately drop the focus, where did you lose them, was the game too difficult, was the game too easy, was it engaging. I was recently in Singapore this whole week for a Web3 gaming conference by Google and Jump. There, the games that had come, they have been building since last 2 years, 3 years, and then they did this whole demo of the games. Every gaming booth, because of course it was Google, they called only the best ones. Every game that you played, people were hooked onto them for half an hour, 1 hour. They were not getting up. They got up because they wanted to move to the next booth.
I use the right word, hooked. Right? So how many of you find it extremely hard to make something that's hooked? Like how many of you feel that you already arrived there?
How do you judge that somebody is hooked or not? First of all, that's important. They completed the whole mission, and then, but again, so I will just like respectfully add another layer to it. They completed the whole mission, but while they were playing, again, judging these things are very important, because people usually want to be nice. Anybody who will come to your booth, they'll say, hey, I loved it, very good job. Nobody's gonna say, hey, shitty game. No, why would they say it? They're meeting you for the first time, right? And if they're giving that time, they will play. But while they are playing, judging, spending time with them, sitting next to them, what do you think, explaining them the game, asking them questions while they are playing, that's very important. Reading each and every minute of how they are spending their time on your game, that's very important. That's judging, and that's how you get to know like whether they were hooked or not hooked. Taking that extra effort by sitting with them when they are playing, and spend as much time after you have played, spend as much time as you can with strangers. People who know you, they will be nice. Go out, find new people to kind of spend time with and making them play your game. And especially people who are going to be like really honest, and strangers, that they can, you can judge them a little because of their body language and everything. That's going to be very important.
So, any kind of synergies that you see with these startups, or as such in metaverse, right? So, anything that you see can be done. If you have some ideas, let's kind of brainstorm and probably forward to people.
I would rather like to
3 things that you have in mind in terms of talent, in terms of synergies or strategic partnerships. Like when you call yourself a meta studio, right? Like you have a host of metaverse things, I assume.
Yeah.
So what are some synergies that you think can be explored?
So I would rather like to put it the other way around. What do you guys think? Right? Because we had this chat and I'm really keen, right? Rather like let's trying to make it interesting, right? Starting with you, because you mentioned like, game studios came. What's your plan to kind of take it to the next step? How do you see that happening? And what kind of partnerships do you have in mind to take your game to the next step? That answer.
It's a very interesting way of putting it.
Exactly. And that answers the question that we are talking about, right? You didn't need anybody else to tell you this thing. You figured it out while more people playing it and understanding what's working, what's not working. That's exactly the key. The more time you spend on this, you figure out these hacks. Other people, when they come and advise you, that is why the term is advise. They advise you. They can enhance what you are doing, right? But the heavy lifting has to be done by you, right? So this is, I think this answers. I don't want to spend more time on it because this has been a beautiful example from the people themselves. Yeah, I mean,
About like culture, tourism.
exactly. So
What is it? So,
Ministry of Culture or anything. But one thing that I would like to add a flavor to that is you are taking the traditional approach, like telling people how traditionally Hampi used to be, right? That's what you want to do. Exactly. How does people want to see it on ground? What's the research that you have done on that? No, my question is, do people want to see the traditional Hampi? How? How do you know? No. So, sorry, let me rephrase my point. What you have done is brilliant. Of course, like Hampi has always had a traditional beauty. Would I want to go and experience that ecosystem? 100% yes, right? But I'm saying that this, again, you are making this product because you wanted to build it, and like, what was the reason behind, or let me rephrase it again. What was the reason behind choosing this to be built, like showing traditional Hampi to the people of today? What sparked this? Okay, and how do you plan to make money out of this? Virtual tourism. Why virtual tourism? And virtual tourism not to the current Hampi but the traditional Hampi. How many people? How many people do you think? How many people visit Hampi every year physically? And how many people do you think will visit it virtually? Architectures. Go ahead, continue. Sorry, please continue. I was just here. Got it. So yeah. So who can give you access to this? Who's going to be most interested in making sure that people visit the traditional Hampi? Yeah, schools, right? But who will be most interested that the traditional Hampi gets highlighted to the people of today? Who will benefit the most out of it if that happens? Students will learn, but who will benefit? Who said government? Yeah, right. So you got the 4 partners that you have to focus on. Yeah.
the F&B guys and the hotels around Hampi also.
Yeah, that if you are able to capture these 4, these are the 4 doors that you have to knock on, and you yourself gave the answer. That is, please, my apologies, I was drilling it because I wanted to get the answer from you itself. These are the 4 doors that you have to knock. You knock these doors, make sure you build an amazing product that can make them happy because they are gonna win. Ultimately, as a product developer, you win if the person who's gonna use the product wins. So you have to step yourself in their shoes, right? So who do you have to make win? Them, these 4, not yourself. I'm not making the traditional Hampi because I want the world to see traditional Hampi. No. Nobody, it does not matter what I think. I am making traditional Hampi because these 4 bodies would benefit if traditional Hampi gets highlighted and gets viral. So these are the 4 doors you have to knock with this narrative that you just explained. And if you get them, and because they will then make sure that it becomes like a popular thing, you will get users. And if you have users, the industries will come who will pay all the bills. So this is like the same. That is why I did. Yeah, that is why I wanted to do this exercise, drilling down, because every product that you make, just keep drilling this. You will have your own answers.
Great. So you highlighted the role of community. Let's wrap it up by actually saying, maybe kind of pledging on how we can build a better community methods. While I think there are many that Rajat may be part of, but being in Hyderabad or any other city, right, even Bangalore, for example, I think there needs to be a lot of folks, right? Every startup here, they might be part of an incubator at STPI or the Image Tower, but I think still idea validation, accelerating, getting this exercise and drilling well, it will be much faster at a rocket speed if there is a community. And there's a regular sort of, not just talking shit and going on, but I think an actionable sort of a steering things. If, for example, maybe after the second month, there has to be a review on like where they've gone. It could be interesting correcting of jobs. As you rightly said, 2 months later, I think the industry may kind of be in a different place. And your model also, you might find better partners in different domains.
Yeah.
So, Avika jo assumption and all that, today it might look good. So we have to be so fast, and it's on speed. And so, what is your any specific sort of commitment as Meta Studio?
Oh,
Build a metaverse community.
As Meta Studios and as couple, 100% committed. Anything. But again, before even I answer that question, I want to take a step back so to kind of make sense to what I'm going to say. Community building, right? What is community? If I can ask you, anybody, just raise your hands. What do you understand by community? Okay. What is the purpose of building a community? The reason I ask this question is majority, and this is how majority of the people perceive communities as one-to-many approach. I built a community for this purpose. Let's say Meta Studios built a community. Why will Meta Studios build a community? So that tomorrow I can benefit from the community I made, and that is why I will invest, and that is going to be in my favor. So that's the purpose of, let's say, Kapil will build a community for Meta Studios because I want to benefit something out of it. But this becomes one-to-many. This is not the typical community. This is a business marketing. This is real community. Yeah, this is real community. Not one-to-many, many-to-many. When any group is created with this ethos, that in this group we will achieve something which benefits everyone. Not if Kapil is creating a community, I will build a story that everybody gets something, but eventually I get the most. That's not a community, that's business. People do it. I'm also part of many of these communities. It exists. It's fine. Everybody goes somewhere. If I'm investing my time, I want to win something out of it. It's fine. But I'm not going to call it a community. I'm going to just call it to be a part of a network to achieve something. If we have to build a community, who are we again? Taking a community is what? Bringing people together. Who are people? How has human civilization survived so far? How has people grown? How have we evolved? By growing together. The world has moved forward because everybody has moved forward. Right? So that's the real community, when if you can create a group, bring a group of people together in a manner that everybody gets something out of it. Everybody benefits. Right? And that's why I particularly personally love Web3. Most of the people that you will meet here, they are more than happy to connect you with anyone. Because if everybody wins, Web3 wins, right? But again, Web3 this has become famous because it was a new industry and everything, right? But at the end of the day, that's human ethos, right? As good people, we get I'm from North, and this is what me and Rajat were talking. We like in Delhi, people are very this thing. You find this thing, let's connect. Come on, you need something, let's connect. It's similar. I don't want a 2% commission because I connected you to Ashok. Ashok is a builder, a publisher. You are building a game. I'll connect. Okay, deal happens. I'll tell Ashok, give me 2%. Sometimes make money, fine. It's okay, but that's not how things work. That's not how a community grow, right? So first of all, the most important is accepting that fundamental that we are building a community. We are building a group with this purpose that everybody wins. If everybody wins, then everybody wins, right? I don't have a conclusion. I was thinking I'll have a mic drop conclusion to it, but hey, everybody wins, then everybody wins. Then what the hell? Come on. And it won't survive. Trust me. How many communities have we seen building and being fizzling out? Many. Because of this very reason. Unless why in Web3 games, how does that take connecting it with the whole economic model angle, right? How Web3 games make money? What is the game publisher or game developer thinking? Is the game developer, the moment game developer starts thinking कि मेरे पास ज़्यादा token रहेंगे मैं बनाऊंगा and everything, slowly and steadily the game starts moving out. But the moment they think I make a strong group of people and keep rewarding them in a manner that they want to keep playing. So I as a game developer start thinking for my gamers कि मैं इनको और क्या दूं, right? So that everybody, each one of them also start connecting with each other and everything. Those are the kind of games that succeed. The same ethos. Like you rightly said, I agree with it. The value system, that has to be very correct. And if everybody starts, and this is a thought that I love to patronize because I'm a firm believer of that we should really be happy to support each other. In any manner, in any capacity, हर किसी की capacity, हर किसी की position अलग होती है. But in whichever position you are in, trust me, everybody can support everybody. If that happens, and with that value system, if we create a group, then the success is going to be manifold. More and more people will want to be a part of it. More and more people will win out of it, and everybody will succeed.